Love yourself. He. Loving yourself is not selfish, it is essential. Too often we're told to prioritize others, to give, to serve, to nurture everyone else, while ignoring the most important relationship we'll ever have, the one with ourselves. But how can we pour from an empty cup? How can we truly love and give to others if we've abandoned our own hearts? Acknowledging your worth begins with understanding that it is not tied to external factors. Too often, we grow up in environments where validation seems to come from accomplishments, good grades, promotions, accolades, or physical appearances. Over time, this conditioning can lead to a belief that our value is something we must earn. But the truth is, your worth is intrinsic. It is not something granted by others, nor is it something you can lose. It exists because you exist. From the moment you were born, you carried infinite value within you. A baby is not valued for what it can do, but simply for being. No one expects a newborn to contribute or achieve to deserve love. Yet, as we grow older, we begin to adopt beliefs that equate our self-worth with our output, as if love and respect are conditional. These beliefs are reinforced by societal standards, cultural norms, and sometimes even by those closest to us. But if we peel back these layers, we find that our worth has always been there, untouched by external judgments. Your worth does not depend on how you look or what you own. It is not diminished by a failed relationship, a missed opportunity, or a setback in your career. These are circumstances, not definitions of who you are. A diamond does not lose its value because it falls in the dirt. It remains precious regardless of its surroundings. In the same way, your value is inherent. It cannot be taken away, and it does not require validation. Acknowledging your worth means letting go of the constant need to compare yourself to others. Comparison is often where self-doubt begins. We look at others' lives through the lens of social media or hear about their successes and wonder if we measure up. But the truth is, every person has their own journey, their own struggles, and their own strengths. Just as a rose does not compare itself to a sunflower, you are not meant to compare your unique path to someone else's. Embracing your worth means appreciating the qualities that make you uniquely you. This understanding also calls for releasing the fear of judgment. When you are rooted in your sense of self-worth, the opinions of others lose their power over you. You no longer feel the need to shape your life around the expectations of society, family, or peers. Instead, you begin to trust your intuition and make choices that align with your values and desires. You recognize that pleasing everyone is an impossible task, and the only approval that truly matters is your own. Recognizing your worth also invites you to stop seeking external validation. Compliments and recognition can feel good, but they should not be the foundation of your self-esteem. Building your sense of worth on external factors is like building a house on sand, unstable and susceptible to shifting circumstances. The moment the praise stops or the achievement fades, your sense of self crumbles. Instead, when you know your worth, you build your self-esteem on a foundation of self-awareness and self-acceptance, which cannot be shaken by the outside world. Embracing your worth is not about arrogance or thinking you are better than anyone else. It is about understanding that you are enough exactly as you are. This belief does not negate the desire for growth or self-improvement. On the contrary, when you know your worth, you are more likely to pursue goals and dreams from a place of love rather than fear. You are not striving to prove yourself or to earn validation, but to honor your potential and the gifts you bring to the world. Acknowledging your worth also means allowing yourself to take up space in the world. Too often, people shrink themselves, apologizing for their presence or holding back their opinions and ideas out of fear of being seen as too much or not enough. But when you know your value, you stand tall. You speak your truth not because you need others to agree, but because you believe in yourself. You pursue your passions, not because you need to prove anything, but because you trust that your dreams are valid. Understanding your worth changes the way you respond to challenges and failures. Instead of seeing setbacks as a reflection of your value, you begin to see them as part of the process. You recognize that failing does not make you a failure. It is simply an opportunity to learn, grow, and try again. When you know your worth, you approach life with resilience because you are not afraid of falling. You trust that you are always capable of rising again. Self-worth also transforms your relationships. When you value yourself, you attract people who value you as well. You no longer settle for relationships that make you feel less than or require you to prove your worth. You set boundaries knowing that it is not selfish but necessary to protect your energy and well-being. You surround yourself with those who uplift and encourage you, and you do the same for them because your sense of worth allows you to give freely without losing yourself in the process. Recognizing your worth is a journey, not a destination. It requires unlearning the false beliefs you may have picked up along the way and replacing them with affirmations of your inherent value. It means reminding yourself daily that you are enough, even on the days when you feel like you're falling short. It means choosing to believe in your worth, even when the world tries to tell you otherwise. At its core, acknowledging your worth is an act of self-love. It is a declaration that you deserve kindness, respect, and happiness not because of what you do, but because of who you are. When you embrace your worth, you begin to see the world differently. You stop chasing after what you already possess within you. You stand taller, dream bigger, and live more fully because you know deep down that you are enough. Treating yourself with the same kindness and understanding you offer to others is a powerful act of self-compassion. It begins with recognizing how often we hold ourselves to impossible standards far higher than those we apply to anyone else. When a friend stumbles, we rush to console them, telling them that mistakes are part of life and growth. But when we stumble, we criticize ourselves harshly, often forgetting that we too deserve patience and forgiveness. Self-compassion is not about making excuses or ignoring areas for improvement. It is about shifting the lens through which you view yourself. Instead of seeing mistakes as personal failings, self-compassion allows you to see them as opportunities to learn and grow. It is about giving yourself permission to be human, to falter, and to rise again without judgment. This shift in perspective can be transformative, turning what once felt like a burden into a stepping stone toward resilience. The way we speak to ourselves matters deeply. Many of us have an internal dialogue that is far more critical than anything we would say to another person. Imagine if you spoke to a friend the way you sometimes speak to yourself. Would they feel supported, uplifted, or encouraged? Likely not. Yet we often allow negative self-talk to dominate our thoughts, eroding our confidence and self-worth. Self-compassion invites you to change this dialogue. Instead of berating yourself for not meeting expectations, you can say, "I did my best." And that's enough. Instead of focusing on what went wrong, you can acknowledge your efforts and the courage it took to try. Forgiveness is a cornerstone of self-compassion. To forgive yourself is to release the weight of guilt and shame that can linger after a mistake or misstep. This does not mean ignoring the consequences of your actions or avoiding responsibility. It means acknowledging that you are not defined by your mistakes. Forgiveness allows you to move forward without the heavy burden of self-recrimination. It is a gift you give yourself, a way to honor your humanity and the lessons you've learned along the way. Another aspect of self-compassion is celebrating your strengths and successes, no matter how small they may seem. In a world that often emphasizes what we lack, it is easy to overlook what we have achieved. But every step forward, no matter how modest, is worth recognizing. Celebrate your perseverance in the face of challenges, your ability to adapt, and the unique qualities that make you who you are. These celebrations are not acts of arrogance, but of self-acknowledgement, a way of affirming that you are enough, just as you are. Self-compassion also requires you to be present with your emotions, even the uncomfortable ones. It is easy to push aside feelings of sadness, frustration, or fear, labeling them as weaknesses. But denying your emotions only creates a disconnect between you and your true self. Self-compassion means allowing yourself to feel, without judgment or suppression. It is sitting with your emotions, understanding their source, and giving yourself permission to process them in your own time. This emotional honesty strengthens your connection to yourself and fosters a deeper sense of self-acceptance. Boundaries are a vital part of self-compassion. Saying no, prioritizing your needs, and protecting your energy are not selfish acts, they are essential. When you consistently put others' needs above your own, you risk burnout and resentment. Self-compassion allows you to recognize that your well-being matters. It empowers you to create space for rest, reflection, and renewal, ensuring that you can give to others from a place of abundance rather than depletion. Practicing self-compassion also involves challenging societal expectations and the pressure to constantly perform. We live in a culture that often glorifies busyness and perfection, leaving little room for rest or self-acceptance. But self-compassion calls for a different approach, one that values being overdoing. It encourages you to step away from the relentless pursuit of perfection and instead focus on what truly matters: your health, happiness, and peace of mind. One of the most profound aspects of self-compassion is its ability to deepen your relationships with others. When you are kind and forgiving toward yourself, you are better equipped to extend that same kindness and forgiveness to those around you. You become less judgmental, more empathetic, and more understanding of others' struggles because you have learned to be understanding of your own. Self-compassion creates a ripple effect, spreading warmth and connection throughout your relationships. Self-compassion also fosters resilience. Life is full of challenges, and how you treat yourself in difficult moments can make all the difference. When you face setbacks, self-compassion provides a soft place to land, a source of comfort and encouragement that helps you get back on your feet. It reminds you that setbacks are not the end of the story, but merely a chapter in your journey. Learning to practice self-compassion takes time and patience. It may feel unfamiliar or even uncomfortable at first, especially if you are used to being your own harshest critic. But like any skill, self-compassion grows with practice. Start small. Replace one critical thought with a kind one. Take a moment each day to acknowledge something you've done well. Give yourself grace when things don't go as planned. Over time, these small acts of self-compassion add up, creating a profound shift in how you view and treat yourself. They transform self-criticism into self-support, judgment into understanding, and fear into courage. They allow you to navigate life's ups and downs with greater ease and confidence, knowing that you have your own back. At its core, self-compassion is an act of love. It is a way of saying, I see you, I understand you, and I am here for you. It is a reminder that you are deserving of kindness, not just from others, but from yourself. And in practicing self-compassion, you not only nurture your own well-being, but also create a foundation of strength and empathy that touches every aspect of your life. You deserve that love and understanding now and always. Embracing imperfection as part of your humanity is one of the most liberating and transformative practices you can adopt. In a world that often glorifies perfection, it's easy to fall into the trap of believing you must meet impossible standards in every area of your life. The pressure to excel in your career, maintain flawless relationships, and embody an ideal version of yourself can create a constant sense of inadequacy. Yet the truth is that perfection is an illusion, and chasing it only distances you from accepting your true self. When you embrace your imperfections, you step into a space of authenticity, self-acceptance, and freedom. No one is without flaws, and that includes you. Whether it's a tendency to procrastinate, a fear of failure, or moments of insecurity, these are all part of what makes you human. Recognizing this truth is not about resigning yourself to your limitations, but about understanding that your imperfections do not define your worth. You are not less deserving of love, respect, or success because of your flaws. In fact, these imperfections are what make you unique and relatable to others. They connect you to the shared human experience, reminding you that everyone is navigating their own challenges and uncertainties. One of the greatest challenges in embracing imperfection is overcoming the fear of judgment. Many people spend their lives hiding their flaws, believing that exposing them will lead to rejection or criticism. But in reality, vulnerability often fosters deeper connections with others. When you allow yourself to be seen as you truly are, flaws and all, you give others permission to do the same. This openness creates an environment of mutual understanding and trust, where relationships can flourish on a foundation of authenticity. By embracing your imperfections, you model courage and acceptance, inspiring others to let go of their own masks. Perfectionism is a heavy burden that often leads to burnout and dissatisfaction. The constant striving to meet unattainable standards can drain your energy and rob you of joy. It's an endless cycle, achieving one goal only to set another, never feeling truly satisfied or at peace. When you shift your focus from perfection to progress, you allow yourself to celebrate the small victories and milestones along the way. This shift in mindset transforms the way you approach challenges, making room for growth and self-compassion instead of self-criticism. Mistakes are inevitable, but they are also valuable teachers. Every misstep or failure holds the potential for growth and learning, provided you are willing to embrace it with an open heart. When you view your imperfections as opportunities rather than obstacles, you unlock the power to adapt and improve. Each setback becomes a stepping stone, guiding you closer to the person you want to become. Instead of fearing mistakes, you learn to see them as an integral part of your journey, evidence that you are trying, growing, and evolving. It's important to recognize that societal expectations often contribute to the unrealistic pursuit of perfection. From curated social media feeds to relentless comparisons, the pressure to appear flawless can be overwhelming. But these external pressures are not reflective of reality. Behind every polished image or success story is a person with their own struggles, insecurities, and imperfections. And by rejecting these external standards and embracing your authentic self, you reclaim your power and redefine what it means to be successful and fulfilled. Embracing imperfection also cultivates resilience. Life is unpredictable and no one can navigate it flawlessly. When you accept that setbacks and challenges are part of the journey, you develop the mental and emotional strength to weather life's storms. You learn to adapt, bounce back, and keep moving forward, even when things don't go as planned. This resilience is not rooted in an absence of fear or failure, but in the courage to face them with grace and determination. Creativity flourishes in the presence of imperfection. When you let go of the need for everything to be just right, you create space for experimentation, innovation, and self-expression. Some of the most groundbreaking ideas and achievements have emerged from mistakes or unexpected turns. By embracing imperfection, you give yourself the freedom to explore new possibilities without the fear of falling short. This openness allows you to tap into your full potential and discover strengths and talents you may not have realized you possessed. Practicing self-compassion is a crucial part of embracing imperfection. This means being gentle with yourself when you fall short of your expectations. Instead of criticizing yourself for not measuring up, you can offer the same understanding and kindness you would extend to a friend in a similar situation. Self-compassion reminds you that you are worthy and enough, even when you are not perfect. It creates a nurturing environment within you, where growth and healing can take root. Letting go of perfectionism is not about abandoning your goals or settling for mediocrity. It's about shifting your focus from external validation to internal fulfillment. When you embrace imperfection, you prioritize what truly matters: your values, passions, and relationships. You begin to measure success not by how flawlessly you perform, but by how aligned you are with your authentic self and the joy you experience along the way. Ultimately, embracing imperfection is an act of self-love. It is a declaration that you are enough, just as you are, without the need to prove your worth through flawless performance. It's a reminder that your value lies not in being perfect, but in being real and showing up for yourself and others with courage, vulnerability, and a willingness to grow. By embracing your imperfections, you create a life that is richer, more meaningful, and undeniably your own. Setting boundaries and respecting your limits is one of the most essential acts of self-love and personal empowerment. It is an acknowledgement that your time, energy, and well-being are finite resources deserving of protection and care. Boundaries are not walls that shut others out, but bridges that allow relationships and responsibilities to flow in ways that are healthy and sustainable. They are tools for maintaining balance, ensuring that you honor your own needs while navigating the demands of life. Establishing boundaries begins with understanding your limits and recognizing when they are being tested or crossed. Often, people struggle with this because society tends to glorify selflessness and sacrifice, framing them as acts of strength or virtue. While giving of yourself can indeed be generous and noble, it becomes harmful when done at the expense of your mental, emotional, or physical health. A life without boundaries can lead to burnout, resentment, and a disconnection from your sense of self. Setting limits is not a rejection of others or their needs. It is a profound affirmation of your right to exist as a whole and autonomous individual. Learning to say no is a cornerstone of healthy boundary setting. For many, the idea of saying no carries a fear of disappointing others or being perceived as unkind. But saying no is not an act of cruelty, it is an act of clarity. It is a way of communicating what is feasible and sustainable for you. When you say no to something that drains or overwhelms you, you are simultaneously saying yes to yourself, to your priorities, your well-being, and the commitments that truly matter. Each no becomes a way to conserve your energy for the things that align with your values and purpose. Setting boundaries also requires you to confront the discomfort that comes with enforcing them. People may react negatively when you establish limits, especially if they are accustomed to you being constantly available or agreeable. This resistance is not a reflection of your worth, but a sign that your boundaries are working to redefine the dynamics of the relationship. It is okay to feel uncomfortable when asserting your needs. Growth often involves discomfort. The more you practice, the more natural it becomes to stand firm in your boundaries with kindness and confidence. Respecting your limits also means being in tune with your emotions and physical well-being. Your body and mind often give you signals when you are overextending yourself. Feelings of exhaustion, irritability, or overwhelm are common indicators. Listening to these signals and taking action to restore balance is not selfish, it is necessary. Ignoring them can lead to long-term consequences, such as chronic stress or emotional detachment. By respecting these internal cues, you honor the natural rhythms of your life and create space for recovery and renewal. Boundaries are vital in relationships. Whether with family, friends, colleagues, or romantic partners, they ensure that your interactions are built on mutual respect and understanding. Boundaries define where you end and another person begins, helping to maintain a sense of individuality within the connection. They protect you from being taken for granted or manipulated and encourage others to approach you with consideration. Healthy boundaries foster deeper intimacy and trust because they create a safe space where both parties feel seen, valued, and respected. In professional settings, boundaries are equally important. The modern work culture often blurs the lines between personal and professional life, with expectations of constant availability and productivity. Without clear boundaries, you risk sacrificing your personal time and mental health to meet these demands. Setting limits at work, such as defining your working hours or managing the scope of your responsibilities, ensures that you can perform effectively without compromising your overall well-being. Communicating these boundaries professionally and assertively is key to maintaining respect and balance in the workplace. Technology has introduced new challenges to boundary setting. The constant accessibility of smartphones and social media can make it difficult to disconnect and recharge. Setting digital boundaries, such as limiting screen time or establishing periods of offline activity, is crucial for maintaining mental clarity and reducing stress. Taking intentional breaks from technology allows you to reconnect with yourself and the world around you, fostering a sense of presence and mindfulness. Respecting your limits also means creating time for self-care. This involves more than indulging in occasional treats. It is a deliberate commitment to nurturing your physical, emotional, and spiritual health. Self-care can take many forms, from practicing mindfulness and exercising to pursuing hobbies and spending time with loved ones. By prioritizing these activities, you affirm that your needs are as important as any external obligation. Self-care is not a luxury but a necessity, one that ensures you can show up for yourself and others with energy and authenticity. Boundary setting is not a one-time act, but an ongoing process. Your needs and limits may evolve over time, requiring you to reassess and adjust your boundaries accordingly. This flexibility is a strength, allowing you to adapt to new circumstances while staying true to your core values. Each time you revisit your boundaries, you deepen your understanding of yourself and reinforce your commitment to living a balanced and intentional life. Ultimately, setting boundaries and respecting your limits is about creating a life that reflects your worth and priorities. It is an act of self-respect that communicates to the world and to yourself that your time, energy, and well-being matter. Boundaries empower you to live authentically, to engage in relationships that nourish rather than deplete you, and to pursue your goals with clarity and focus. They are not barriers to connection, but pathways to deeper, more meaningful interactions. In honoring your limits, you create a life that is not only sustainable, but also filled with purpose, joy, and fulfillment.